Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. And as always, thank you so much for your time for tuning in today. I have to tell you, I'm still a little bit on cloud nine from last week's special show with Vicky Freed from Royal Caribbean. And I certainly appreciate all of the positive feedback and the kind words about our Q&A segment. Just knowing the fact that those that watch our show are actually receiving something of value in return, even if it's like a small little tip, a pro tip from someone like Vicky Free that maybe helps you make an extra sale or two along the way, it certainly makes everything we do on a week-to-week basis worthwhile. And we have a great episode lined up for you today. We're bringing back one of our favorite guests, Ed Henderson, Mastermind Sales Development Coach for Avoya Travel, for an Avoya Insider segment. Ed's in the trenches, day to day, assisting those in our network with one of the most important resources we offer, coaching. Yeah, sales coaching with an expert in closing sales in the travel industry. And this level of professional development is unrivaled, it's unsurpassed in our industry, and it would cost you thousands and thousands of dollars out of your pocket to get even half of the knowledge that Ed has to share and those on his team. So our network gets access for just being a member. Yeah, it's all just part of the affiliation price. And I love having the big wigs on. I really do. It's great to feature the brain trust and the senior leaders that make Avoya Travel tick, but I also love featuring those that are handling the heavy lifting on a day-to-day basis. And we're just excited to welcome back Ed Henderson here in just a few moments for a great Q&A. All in all, and it's been a while since I've said this, it's been actually a pretty uneventful week in the travel industry, kind of knock on wood, compared to some that we've had over the last couple of years. But we still managed to source a few meaningful stories to share today in our Eye on Industry segment. Among those stories is word from Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Fiona on the impact to leisure travel. And I'm happy to say it's not as bad as everyone had feared. We'll also have a story about new planes from budget carrier Frontier Airlines that are supposed to be the cleanest and greenest planes in the skies, as well as the swan song for the Carnival Ecstasy. We'll have the latest on her final sailing. And we have a few great things to preview as we get ready for our 2-year anniversary special for On Deck with Avoya, including a very high-profile guest in 2 weeks. Now, if you love river cruising, you sell, you want to sell, you hope to sell river cruising, then this is a must-see week, and we can't wait to tell you about our guest here in just a bit today. And speaking of the 2-year anniversary special, we'll continue to beat the drum for that as we have some great details to share. 2 years of weekly shows, kind of a big deal for our small show. And we hope you don't mind if we're a bit excited in the lead up. You know, I work with some amazing people in our trade marketing team. They do amazing work, headed up by Marissa, who's produced On Deck with Avoya for the last 2 years. Annabella joined our team this year and really helped take our show to new heights, and they deserve that recognition. And I certainly hope they both know, and I just appreciate their professional partnership and everything we've achieved in 2 years of broadcasting. So yeah, we're a little excited about our coming up 2-year anniversary special. But it's time to kick off this week's show. Yeah, On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, our industry insights, and our Eye on the Industry feature. Many had feared the worst as Puerto Rico received a direct blow from Hurricane Fiona a few weeks back, but the impact, short and long term, to the island's travel sector at least, seems to have been somewhat minimal and without really lasting impacts. In a story we sourced from Travel Pulse, Brad Dean, the CEO of Discover Puerto Rico, the island's destination marketing agency, is quoted as saying, consumers' plans to visit Puerto Rico remained little changed following Fiona, saying their data indicates most travelers who intended to visit the island prior to Fiona say the storm had little impact on their future travel plans. Their survey also found most travelers whose Puerto Rico plans were impacted by Fiona just shifted their trips to other areas of the island. Fewer than 10% canceled their trip or opted for another destination. As far as their main airport there in San Juan, it was closed only for 1 day, but resumed flights the following day as the area was mostly spared from the storm. Cruise lines returned 2 days later after storm hit, and most hotels and restaurants in San Juan and certainly in the old town didn't suffer much damage at all. Now, the part of the island that did receive the damage, the southwestern portion, is still in recovery mode. And of course, our hearts go out to those people. Frontier Airlines says it now has the most fuel-efficient plane ever. In another story we sourced from Travel Pulse, Frontier Airlines on Tuesday introduced a new aircraft to its fleet, a plane it says is the most fuel-efficient commercial jet ever. Now, the Denver-based low-budget carrier rolled out a new Airbus A321neo aircraft at an event in Tampa, and they called it an ultra fuel-efficient plane. The new 240-seat plane is expected to get 120 miles per gallon of fuel per passenger, but will generate significantly lower carbon emissions and engine noise. So still burning a lot of gas, but certainly better than some of the other jets that are out there. And finally, after 31 years in service and having 5.5 million passengers sail on her, including myself, I was lucky enough to be on the Ecstasy at one point. The Carnival Ecstasy is on her final sailing for the Carnival Corporation. The ship sailed at full capacity, has lots of fans, sailed out of Mobile, Alabama, left on Monday, doing a 5-day sailing to wrap it up. So that means it's back in port, I think, on Saturday, right? So 3 decades of service, pretty amazing. Part of the fantasy class of ships, the Ecstasy was innovative in its day and served 8 home ports since entering service: Miami, Port Canaveral, Jacksonville, Galveston, New Orleans, Charleston, Mobile, and Long Beach, California. Now, while the ship will be gone, a piece of Carnival Ecstasy memorabilia, a 1934 Rolls-Royce saloon, will be on Carnival's new ship debuting out of Miami on November 20th. That's the Carnival celebration. The car will become a feature of the Gateway, a 2-deck area of the ship which celebrates the excitement of exploring new destination and highlights Carnival's evolution of ships over the last 50 years. All right, time to turn our attention to this week's featured Q&A segment, which, as our loyal followers know, is my favorite part of the show. We get to highlight the best-in-class resources offered by Avoya Travel for those in the Avoya network. We get to not only show those resources off, but we get to introduce you to the teams that help make them effective and such a valuable asset to those in our network. Sometimes we have a guest that resonates so much with our audience that we know we want to bring him back for another spin in the hot seat, as we are today with our Avoya Insiders. Today's one of those days. He's back. He's knowledgeable. He's very straightforward. He has the track record to back it up. So if you're ready to sell more, if you're ready to learn more, today is your day. Please help me in welcoming Avoya Insider special guest this week, Ed Henderson, Mastermind Sales Development Coach for Avoya Travel. Ed, so great to have you back on the show, my friend.
Oh gosh, Chris, it's so great to be here, and thank you so very much. It's a pleasure. And hello, Facebook. Great to have an opportunity to step out and say hello to everybody. Yeah, thank you for the intro as well. We really love what we do as far as being in the trenches. We get so many opportunities to talk to agencies across the entire spectrum. It's a very dynamic and challenging environment, but oh my gosh, having so much fun.
And Ed, since the last time we had you on the show, we've added YouTube into our mix too. So we're getting even more audience out there for your appearance. So for those that may have missed your previous appearance, fill us in a little bit on your background in sales and travel and how you ended up as part of such an amazing team here at Avoya Travel.
Oh, sure. Happy to. Really, I've been a sales guy for decades. My background is all really in manufacturing. So coming to travel sales, a friend of an acquaintance of mine is an Avoya agency owner. She's still in the business, actually. And she offered me the opportunity. I've been a sales guy, as I said, for a while. And she offered me the opportunity. Hey, would you like to learn how to sell travel? Well, that'd be interesting. It's certainly different from anything that I've sold in the past, but I've traveled enough that I felt that I could probably kind of fake it until I made it. And so I joined Avoya back in January of 2015. And really just knew right off the bat that this was different from, I've owned several other businesses, been a home-based guy for years and years. This was just different. Really enjoyed the emotional aspects of what we do and the emotional purchase. So different than selling widgets or cars or something else where people have to purchase it. This is an emotional purchase, and it's really fun to tie into that. So that's what got me into the business, and that's really what's kept me in it. Coming on board as a direct employee, when was that, 2018, 2017, 2018, really was, it's just been a wonderful experience. And as long as you guys let me have a login, I'm going to stick around.
Ed, I just love hearing you talk, my friend. And that's why we've got you back here for a second stint on Deck with Avoya. We had such great engagement in response to your first appearance. And I really appreciate what you do, the resource that you offer to the Avoya network. Tell everyone a little bit about your specific role now and how that impacts the network for the positive.
Oh, sure. Happy to. Really, my focus now is working with our newest agencies coming in. I'm part of network engagement, which is several different teams together. The brand sales team, really, really specialized knowledge that they have that's available. The Avoya Mastermind team, which has been, gosh, legendary for more than a decade as far as its success with helping agencies find success with Avoya Travel. I work for one segment of that called Early Success, or really Foundations for Early Success. Our role, my role, and my teammates are really working with the newest agencies, helping them to come on board. Even if you're an experienced agency, the learning curve here is really very vertical, is what I'm trying to say. And so there's a lot of information, even if you know the industry. Avoya's technology is so advanced that it takes people a while to find their feature. So really our focus is sales, working with the new agencies coming in, getting their systems in place, helping them see results.
So Ed, let's kind of break it down to the simplest of terms. If I was a new member of the Avoya network, why do I need coaching, and what can that do for my agency?
Well, again, really, we just have our access. Excuse me. We're in contact with so many agencies. We have access to so much data. You know how extraordinary our business intelligence team is. We have really very early looks into trends. What's changing? This whole industry, even before COVID, was evolving constantly. But since COVID, that acceleration has just been enormous. Everything changes all of the time. So we are in a great position to see those trends, to be talking with agencies about what's successful, excuse me, what is and is not successful. And we can impart that knowledge to other individuals who are coming in to really share that and help everybody take advantage of the resources that are available.
And as a bit of a follow-up to that, Ed, because I'm all about the numbers, and of course at Avoya, we really believe numbers don't lie. And as you mentioned, business intelligence, that BI shows that those that do participate, that do, engage in sessions like you offer, what the Mastermind team offers, what brand sales offers, all the amazing professional development opportunities at Avoya Travel, but those that do incorporate that into their time, they just sell more, right?
Absolutely correct. And you're probably closer to the metrics than I am just because of what your team does. But really, the agencies, we see it in our numbers, the agencies who participate and are actively engaged in the program, the mastermind training, the sales coaching, they find success more quickly and they post higher sales more quickly than agencies who come in and figure that they can just kind of tough it out and find their way around. As I said, the technology is very advanced and it's hard to convey that just across a small screen like you and I are right now. But the range of capabilities that these IAs have at their fingertips is extraordinary.
What are your thoughts, Ed, on how much time, say a percentage of time, that I devote to the concept of professional development weekly with my agency? Again, if I was the agency owner, because I think as a new agency owner, sometimes laying down those best practices and figuring out those things like how much do I devote to this and how much do I devote to that? Because that investment is going to pay off in the long run.
No, concur 100%. And to your question, how much time percentage wise, every single minute that you can. So much is going on in the industry. We have, as I said earlier, so many changes since COVID. There was a big reset here over the last couple of years. One thing that is good about it is that all of us, agencies, and of course the suppliers as well, we had to make some pretty harsh 90-degree turns at times here. So everybody has learned over the last couple of years how to be light on their feet. Professional development, I think one aspect that I would state that is, I think, overlooked is knowing your competition. Everybody is so hungry now. Everybody's willing to make a deal. You need to know every single bit of that as well. So it's not normally supplier training, which we do a lot of focusing on, but also your competition. Do they discount? Do they have hidden fees? These are critical in terms of being able to compete with some very substantially larger agencies who we are.
Wow, just great stuff there. Ed Henderson, Mastermind Sales Development Coach, is our featured Avoya Insider guest this week for On Deck with Avoya. Ed, looking a bit forward a couple of months to 2023, again, if I was that agency owner sitting here and I came to you and I said, listen, coach, I want 2023 to be my personal best year ever in the travel industry. And I think I really need to start preparing now. What advice would you offer and what tips could you share with our audience today?
Oh, definitely start preparing now. All of the industry indicators that we see are that we're going to have a very strong, what's called wave season, a post-holiday wave. For those who aren't familiar with the term, really right after Christmas, January 1st, right on through about the end of March or a little bit after that, is a tremendously strong season for our industry, and it can be instrumental in setting up your entire 2023 at this point. So yes, I would say definitely start preparing now. There is time for agencies, those out in the audience that are considering coming on board with Avoya Travel. There is definitely still time to get on board and get into the game, get through the professional development, learn your systems, set an objective, put your systems in place. Really, the thing that we really preach a lot is metrics, measure, set measurable goals, and then do the things you need to do in order to make sure that you're really on track.
You find sometimes, Ed, that people, one of the things that's a challenge is that somebody has to really come to understand that as the agency owner, they need to hold their best employee,
Oh, yeah.
which is also themselves, right, to an
Mhm.
incredibly high standard, because everybody wants to have that great boss that says, hey, knock off a little early, no, cut the corner here, cut the corner there. But when you're the owner and you're the number one employee, you don't have that latitude.
Well, you know yourself, you can be your own worst employee just as well as you can be your own best. So yeah, somebody's got to hold your feet to the fire, and that's you. But the good news is, again, there's a lot of diversity in this. It's a level playing field. An individual sitting, hey, in a spare bedroom like I am right now can go out and compete with the big dogs and really make a mark in the industry. So again, for those individuals who are determined and committed, bring it on. We're happy to have you with us.
Sometimes sales coaching comes down to big ideas, right, Ed, that you incorporate over the long term. And some of things are like simple ideas that you incorporate as well, right? Like the example Vicky Freed last week, she offered her pro tip of when you're at the end of making a sale of every cruise, you just ask one simple question. Ed, is there anybody else that you might know of that wants to sail with you on this trip? I mean, sometimes it really just boils down to simple concepts, right?
I just love her for that kind of stuff. Honestly, she's so great at this industry and so gracious about sharing that knowledge. But yes, really, it's funny. We see this with some of our IAs, independent affiliate agencies, that they'll do a really, really good job of reaching out, making connection with people, asking those open-ended questions. They'll put together a marvelous presentation, but they're apprehensive about asking that question, which card would you like to use to place the deposit? And the guests don't know what to expect. So really, we have to help these IAs, the independent affiliates, understand that, really you are the travel sales professional. You're the independent vacation planner. It's up to you to really ask those questions and to ask for referrals. If you've done your part, for me, that was a big part of my business. Happy customers bringing back family members. They brought back other family members, brought back their friends. It really just expanded out from there. And it really, really made a huge difference in my following year's sales because I had put in the work up front.
Yep. Again, simple concepts sometimes. Hey, I just want to say a quick hello to Jason, who's watching today, and he's going to be in San Juan next week on a cruise. So, Jason, I hope that's fantastic. A great experience for you. Really appreciate you being part of On Deck with Avoya. Ed and I, on top of being personal friends and colleagues at Avoya Traveler for the last 5 years, Ed and I are going to be roommates in the near future. We've been paired up for this year's Avoya National Conference. And Ed, I apologize in advance that you drew the short straw and landed me as a roomie. But aside from that, what are you looking forward to the most about our upcoming trip on the Celebrity Beyond next month?
Well, Chris, when I was on your team, we worked at enough shows. It ain't a party until Chris is there, folks. I'll tell you that for a fact. Really just getting out to renew the friendships. And so many, and back when I was on your team years ago, there's some IAs that came in through me as a joint Avoya or as an affiliation specialist who I had never met. Some of them I finally got a chance to meet up with earlier this year when I worked at the Land Forum in Cancun this spring. And it's just wonderful to be back out with people again. Conference is always wonderful. It really, really invigorates you. Again, it's easy to get a set of blinders on when it's just you in your spare bedroom or working in your bedroom, whatever it might be here. When you get out and meet with other people, you have the opportunity to rub shoulders with IAs, with the senior leadership team, generally great interface with the suppliers, which is critical. It's such a relationship-driven business. Getting there and meeting your business development managers or the other luminaries in the business, it opens doors for you. They don't know who Ed Henderson is, but they certainly know who Avoya Travel is, and they're happy to meet you. So really looking forward to that aspect, Chris. It's going to be a great time.
Sometimes for somebody who's an affiliate in our network, you just don't know when the light bulb's going to go on and make such a big difference. It might be a conversation with somebody like Ed that provides some kind of little tip. It might be literally sharing a coffee with another affiliate in the network who mentions something to you that just resonates in a way that really changes your business. Or you might make that one or two really important contacts with one of the vendors that's going to really help you propel to having such an amazing year in 2023. So it's really hard to overstate how
It is
important things like that are, right?
100%. My first conference, when I started in January of 2015, I attended conference that Memorial Day. Really only knew the independent affiliate who had introduced me to the program. I knew within hours of meeting everybody, getting to know the Andersons, having this wonderful experience. I knew that I was with the right people right then and there. Here I am now, 7+ years later. So yeah, conference is hugely motivational, and again, just the relationship building. There's no way you could put a price on it.
But you can't kind of put a price on it, because normally those that participate, cha-ching, cha-ching, end up coming out of that with something that helps them sell more, generate more, have a more robust business. So all of those things are really vital. And while it's already closed out, there's no chance to sign up for this year's national conference. We have our virtual coming up here soon. The 2023 events, for those that are not a part of our network, we're about to announce those here soon. And there's always something, as soon as we wrap up one event, there's always another one that's kind of in that rotation that really can help you take your business to new heights.
So true. How many events did we have already this year? Gosh, boot camps, a couple of great boot camps, very highly reviewed and received events that were actually held at sea. Some of our teammates just got back from Discovery Princess, a brand new ship up in Alaska. Boot camps, individual sessions, going to the shows, even meeting people at some of your events, Cruise World, Cruise 360. Yeah, anything that you can do, it all still falls under that realm of professional development. Anything that you can make, please attend. It'll be worth it.
What about just travel in general, Ed? What are some of your favorite places when you get a little chance to get away that you hope to get to?
Any warm beach, Chris, honestly, at this point, really just someplace in the sun. But really for me, most of the real travel that I've done has been in Asia, to Japan to visit friends, Thailand. I have friends in Thailand, and also to China. And something about the vibe there really works for me. So yeah, I'd love to get back to Thailand again and explore more of the country. It's very, very vibrant culture.
What about a wish list? Anything big on that list that you just hope to knock off in the near future?
It's endless, honestly. Something new goes on the list every day. But I would say the Mediterranean really is something that is a glaring omission from my passport. When I was selling, I put so many guests into Italy, the Greek Isles, well, really, the Adriatic. Everyone came back madly in love with the cuisine and the culture and the climate. That's really something that I really would like to experience.
And switching back to just thinking about those that you help in the Avoya network, what about some winning traits? Because I'm assuming that you notice, because you work with so many different people, that there's certain traits that percolate to the top for people that just end up winning and being a more successful travel advisor. Anything you can share there?
Yes, really commitment. This is your business. Are you going to work this like a hobby, or are you going to work it like a business? It just boils down to persistence and determination. This is a fun business, but it's not without challenges. How do you rise above those? Or how do you, something's in your way, how do you work around it? Those individuals, the people who can keep smiling, that keep their eye on whatever that goal is that they've set, those are the people that achieve some really surprisingly very, very good numbers in this business. That some of our top agencies, even despite the COVID nightmare, were able to hold their heads high and still post up some great numbers, simply because they were determined that a couple of clouds in the sky were not going to stop them.
I mean, we're very fortunate in that we represent a company that is known in the industry for having the network where the affiliates just sell more and generate more in commissions. So it's certainly a nice part of the coin to be on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The numbers, as I said, I know that you're closer to some of those metrics than I am, but we see it for sure. Those individuals who come in and really embrace, as I used the term earlier, actively engaged. If you come in and you actively engage with us, we have tremendous resources that we have connections into pretty much every aspect of Avoya travel. We can help you get from A to B faster than if you try to do it by yourself. So yeah, those individuals who come in and actively participate in the programs see the results very quickly.
And I just want to highlight one more time, this is not a program that's like an add-on or an a la carte restaurant, where you're getting the baked potato after you already paid it.
Yeah, really. The steak, upsell,
right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, these programs, of which Ed is a part of, our mastermind team, our brand sales team, our network enrichment team of Avoya University. All of those resources are all part of the standard affiliation with Avoya Travel. So we really do bring a lot to the table. And when you hear us say best in class resources, we back that up. And of course, we have the business intelligence that backs that up as well. So it really is a win-win-win.
I 100% agree.
All right, one last question, Ed, before we let you go and get back to your real work. What are your thoughts, my friend, on the long-term and even the near-term future of leisure travel overall?
Oh, I think it's booming. Really, from what we're seeing, even just from a practical standpoint, looking outside of our little window of it, look at all the new ships that are being built. Look at all the new resorts that are going in. I think it's really clear that the financial markets are betting heavily on leisure travel going forward. Certainly, they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't expect a return on their investments. Super bright. And we already know, based on the data that we have coming in from the network, that everybody, I don't want to use the term revenge travel, but there's a lot of that kind of a mindset right now that it's my turn. You know, I've waited 2 years now. I've been stuck in the house. We see a lot of individuals who historically might book an ocean view stateroom. Well, now they're going for a balcony, or if they were balcony clients, they're looking at suites, or they're extending those vacations longer. Yeah, I think the future for travel is very, very bright. Maybe we were due for a big reset, whatever, whether we were due or not, we got one. And it's a great place to be at the forefront of the industry.
Absolutely. Ed Henderson, everyone, Mastermind Sales Development Coach for Avoya Travel. Ed, thanks again for that great conversation. I look forward to catching up with you here in a few weeks in Fort
Chris,
Lauderdale.
My pleasure to see you. I look forward to catching you down there on Celebrity Beyond. Look forward to seeing everybody else there too. Have a great day.
Trust me, if you get a chance to spend some time with Ed Henderson as a sales coach, or any of our amazing sales coaches for that matter, a team is amazing, and you'd be making a really smart investment of time. In fact, you know, one of our people viewing the show today, Jennifer, asked us about national conference and whether it's smart for somebody to do in the industry. And again, Jennifer, conference is already closed out, but engage. Be one of those active, engaged persons. Look for the 2023 calendar. I think it'll certainly be a smart investment of your time. All right, so the cat's out of the bag. Guess who we have as a very exciting guest coming up here in just a couple of weeks? Yeah, I can't believe it. Gary Murphy, co-owner of Alma Waterways, is going to be joining us here on Deck with Avoya. Isn't that pretty exciting? I mean, Gary recently stepped away back in the spring as his duties as the senior vice president, but remains co-owner of Alma Waterways. And he's so kind to give us some of his very precious time. So we can't wait. Again, Gary Murphy going to be joining us in 2 weeks right here on Deck with Avoya. When you see that one to sign up for, make sure you get registered. All right, speaking of all of our lead up, it's all leading to our 2-year anniversary special on board the Celebrity Beyond. We're going live during Avoya's 2022 conference. We can't wait. Dondra Ritzenholler, Senior Vice President with Celebrity Cruises, is going to be our special guest today. We're putting together some really cool things for that. It's going to be live here on our normal social media channels. You'll be able to sign up through our Zoom link or Facebook. It'll certainly be uploaded to YouTube. And we're really excited for that. So again, thank you for everything that you've done to help make our show be able to be at this point, to be able to have such a special 2-year celebration. It really means a lot to me personally. Wow, our military discount just continues to find some great traction, and we're so honored to honor those that serve our country and their families that serve right along with them. We're taking $100 off that affiliation fee. If you go to avoyanetwork.com, you put in your request. If you qualify, when you're working with somebody on my team, they'll be more than happy to get that information so that you qualify for that $100 off the affiliation special. And why would you affiliate with Avoya Travel? Well, you get people like Ed Henderson, right? Industry leading solutions, grow your business and reach more clients, quality you can trust, commitment to innovation. Avoya is just a rocket ship ready for launch. We've got the partnerships in place. We have the systems in place. We just got it going on. Put that request in and talk to an affiliation specialist. Ask your question, find out about our story, find out how our network just sells more and generates more in commissions. And I think you'll come to a really smart business decision. And when you do, and you want to reach out and have that conversation, how do you do so? Well, pretty simple stuff. Avoya Network, avoyanetwork.com. That is where you want to go as your first stop. Or just email me, Chris Green at avoyatravel.com. Let me say that again, Chris.Green at avoyatravel.com, or pick up the phone and give us a call the old-fashioned way. We just love to hear from you. We're going to be off next week. Avoya Travel is having their virtual national conference, so we're going to be tied up with that all of next week. We'll probably have a special message out there on our social media channels. But again, in 2 weeks, Gary Murphy, co-owner of AMA Waterways, is joining us, and that's going to be just a fantastic special. Big thanks to Ed Henderson. What a great guest. What a great guy. I really love having Ed on the show. Big thank you to Annabella, who did a wonderful job in producing our show today. All of my trade marketing partners really appreciate and value what they bring to the table, and certainly appreciate you, the backbone of our show. Thank you so much for your time, for participating in On Deck with Avoya. Till next week, take care, everyone.